The title is Integrating PowerBuilder with SAP Business One using REST. But this is just the last step of our journey. I will talk to you about this journey, about every steps to move a PowerBuilder app standalone to a certified add-on for SAP Business One, certified, built on PowerBuilder, migrated to Hana, and the last step is how to communicate from PowerBuilder application named MakingONE to SAP Business One on HANA using REST. Okay, this is the agenda. We will talk about the starting point, our condition and SAP Business One best practices, issues encountered, HANA, and from come to REST. This is my profile. We have here my social links. My name is Giuseppe Moglia. I come from Italy, of course. I'm working on PowerBuilder since 2008. My first project was on a Appeon project, moving ERP to web, and after that I started working on PowerBuilder and try to integrate it with SAP Business One in order to create an add-on for SAP Business One. In the last year, the big deal was integrate this add-on with SAP Business One HANA version. This is my company named SATA Consulting. We can reach on web on these links. SATA Consulting is Pavia based. Pavia is a town south of Milan. Is a small and medium business company consulting enterprise with great experience in processes, analysis, and system integration. We have more than 30 years of experience of project management, deliveries, proprietary solution, SAP Business One based developed in PowerBuilder. We are SAP Business One partner in the VAR Group Galaxy, and we are working on SAP Business One from 2008. That's the starting point. A proprietary ERP developed on PowerBuilder with these numbers: more than 100 PBLs, more than 500 functions, 22 different menus, about 4,000 data windows, 400 user objects, 452 windows, 3 languages. We moved on English and Portuguese, and we use Italian, of course. We move on that languages using enable, and we have also 2076 structures. I don't know if it's a huge application or not. What do you mind? Okay. MakingONE, the integration with SAP Business One. On this slide, we can see a schema of SAP Business One components. SAP Business One has 2 different parties, one server and one client. This is the classic or SQL version of SAP Business One. On server, we have a SAP Business One database, typically Microsoft SQL Server, a DI server, and a web application based on Apache, developed on Java, useful to connect to SAP Business One database in a consistent mode in order to read and write SAP Business One entities. There's a license server, and on client party there's an SAP Business One client, the application, okay, with two different COM objects, the user interface API and the data interface API. The user interface API works with the graphical user interface of SAP Business One and allow us on modify SAP Business One forms, adding buttons, adding menus, modify, make a field visible, enable, or and so on. The data interface API is responsible for SAP Business One entity read and write in a consistent mode. You can of course connect directly to SAP Business One database. We do so, but you cannot write directly on SAP Business One database with an ODBC link, for example. In order to build an add-on deeply integrated on SAP Business One client, we have to use both user interface API and data interface API. On other application, for example, warehouse management and data field collection, we just connect to SAP Business One using data interface API. We do not need the graphical interface of SAP Business One client. How to do so? This is the effort, 2 months man for the integration. The integration can be achieved using the SAP SDK component. The SDK component is DI API, DI API server, and UE API. As I've said, the DI API provides the COM-based interface to the business object and business logic of SAP Business One. The DI API server is similar to the DI API, except that it provides a SOAP-based protocol. In fact, as I said, the DI server is a Java application on Apache server, on Tomcat. Yep. User interface is based on COM2 and is focused on SAP Business One user interface. Be careful, do not write directly on SAP Business One DB, because SAP Business One, when you ask for an help, first of all, check the DB, if this DB is not consistent because you have write directly on it, you are out of support. So, and you are on the black book, so you cannot get any kind of support for SAP Business One. At the starting point, there was a lot of example provided by SAP Business One, but just on C# or .NET. So, no PowerBuilder examples. What we have to do? We consider three basic conditions. The first one is no data replication. Data that are on SAP, that are stored on SAP Business One database must not be also on MakingONE database. So how to do that? We built views to SAP Business One tables in order to create our data. One code, 3 apps. We have a trunk code for map BS, the ERP at the starting point, and we have to use the same PBLs and the same objects also for MakingONE and MakingONE on HANA. The third one is no integration without SDK. As I said, no write directly on SAP Business One DB without using SDK. The first one, how to let MakingONE read SAP Business One data easily. The first one is the data sharing. So the creation of views of SAP Business One tables and the mapping of SAP Business One fields to MakingONE fields. Remember, these views are used just to read data, not to write. The old map BS table now are views on SAP Business One and have the same name of our map master data tables. Issue number 2, how to let MakingONE write SAP Business One objects. Remember, we do not write directly in SAP Business One DB. This is a very important condition. We use all the objects. This is an example of the code in order to connect to SAP Business One. What are the goals achieved with this condition? And after the first step is the connection procedure. Now let us modify the graphical user interface so we can add menu item, integrate in our ERP menu on SAP Business One, and modify SAP Business One forms, adding fields and other items, buttons, single line edit, and so on. Issue number 3, how to handle SAP Business One events. How to? SAP Business One has a logic of before and after event. So if you connect to SAP Business One, you receive a call before SAP Business One elaborate this event, and after this event is elaborated with different with the same arguments on these functions, but with different values. For example, we have also the before action arguments, and that's true before SAP Business One elaborate this event, and it's false after SAP Business One elaborate this event. Using PowerBuilder native interface, we build a PBX that wrap form event and data event on SAP Business One. Form event are, for example, click on a button, focus on a window, and so on. Data event are data add, data update, data delete. There are any other events, for example, the pause menu click, the click on the SAP Business One menu, the language changed, the shutdown, and the validate. The fourth issue is how to integrate our ERP on SAP Business One MDI Frame. Because at this step we can connect to SAP Business One, we can modify the graphical user interface, we can wrap the events, and we can add, delete, update SAP Business One entities using SDK. But our add-on is a different application and with a different parent Windows at this moment, and we want, for example, these goals. When we iconize SAP Business One, also the add-on has to be iconized. No icon in the application bar. When I call a MakingONE form, the SAP Business One form goes in the background and vice versa. And if I have different instances of SAP Business One, every related instance of the add-on must have the right parent. How to do so? Using Windows API, working on Windows and PID. We modify the SAP Business One MDI Frame title, adding the process ID of MakingONE, and then we found this window using the find window A external functions from Windows API. From that we can get the child window, the MDI frame, where also our forms are visible, and after that we have just to set the right parent to our forms. This is a code example. Now issue number 5, how to improve the skin and let MakingONE looks like SAP Business One. At the left you can see an old form of our ERP map. In the middle we can see an SAP Business One form on HANA version with the template, with Fiori template. At the right, the same form using a third-party application named Skin Crafter. And as you can see, buttons are have the same color and the same dimensions. The form is very similar, and also the button to iconize, maximize and close are the same as the SAP Business One forms. Now, how to migrate to HANA. Our goal was one code and two databases with two different syntax. Which are the differences from HANA to Microsoft SQL Server? HANA is case sensitive. There are some differences on syntax. The catalog on SAP Business One on HANA is 1, so you have not database, schema, and tables and views and so on, for example, but you have just schema and tables. You have to enclose table and column name in double quotes. And HANA has a REST architecture, and we use that to communicate to it in a consistent mode. Which are the tools we use to do so? SAP provides us with a tool named SQL Converter that tries to convert your queries to HANA syntax. But we have a lot of embedded SQL on our application, and a lot, as you can see, a lot of data windows in our application. So using PB Tools and PB Search, we modified with a batch tool. All our embedded queries, and we do a function. We made a function to translate TSQL queries into HANA SQL. The change is due at runtime during the set transaction for data windows and data stores. As I've said, we did a massive change of embedded SQL. Now, the last step from COM object to REST service layer. Which are the difference from the API to service layer? The API is an application that this application directly takes reference to the functionalities and send data according to the API provided by SAP. SAP BubsCom DLL is used to reference the business object exposed through SAP Business One. There's a common interfacing and support of debugging. The specific handling of objects are uniquely exposed through API is easy to implement, but it's very slow. Service layers is an extension to SAP Business One to expose data and objects of SAP to external world. Service layer is built as a web component following HTTP protocol, more specifically OData, that enables SAP Business One objects to be consumed, use basic HTTP methods, and also opens wide range of tools to consume data. It runs on SUSE Linux Enterprise Release. It is an application server built on the Apache HTTP web server. This is the architecture. Okay? And this is code differences to do the same thing, more or less. At the left, we have to create an OLE object with a create. We get the instance of that OLE object, a user field, for example. On this OLE object, we have to set the properties, name type, edit size, description, table name, and then we have to add it to SAP Business One. If the return code is different from 0, we can call the getLastError function provided by SAP, and from that we can have evidence of error eventually. With service layer, we have just to build the JSON string and run a post after, of course, the login. With the login, we have a session ID, and we have to set this session ID in the header for every request on the HTTP client. If the response is 2000, okay, we know everything is good. Okay, let's start the demo. Let's connect to our demo machine. Here we have an SAP Business One on HANA installation. Let's start our add-on. As you can see here, there is the standard menu of SAP Business One client. In a few seconds, we will see on it also our menu items. From this, we can run our form. This is a PowerBuilder form. This is a SAP Business One form. And as you can see, the Z index is respected. And no application, no icon of MakingONE application in the application bar. Now let's start service layer demo. We try to connect to service layer SAP Business One using PowerBuilder. Let's run and let's connect. If the connection is okay, SAP give us a session ID to set up the header in every every next request to SAP Business One using service layer. For example, let's get the business partner with this code. Here we have the JSON of this entity with all the parameters, the properties. For example, the car name, let's open SAP Business One on that sorry, on that business partner. Okay. You can see the name, the car name, Unit 7, Caliborn Software 123. Using our demo application, let's try to update this car name using the service layer 1, 2, 3, 4. No content, so all goes good. In fact, refreshing, we have a new car name. That's it. If you have questions, you can also send me question by email. You have my, or put them on community Appeon on social. Thank you, everybody.